Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Mastery Monday. What's going on, everybody?
Good morning.
What's going on, Dean?
Yeah.
Good to see you here. Who else we got? We got Leland always, Michael, Chris. What up, Chris? Thank you for sending a kind note in the group the other day. We got Matt Cosman as well. Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Love to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tiffany, if you're there, we love you. How's everyone doing this morning?
Hey, doing great, Fernando. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. What are you present to this morning, my brother?
I'm present to a beautiful week ahead of us. I'm excited about these coaching calls we have going to further my deepening of my knowledge and my awareness. I'm just noticing from this past weekend when I was having conversations with people, it was just more depth, and I'm more aware when I'm listening to them and how I can ask better questions. So it's just amazing. Super excited.
Good. And love your energy on this Monday morning, and love how you're in the game, how you're sharing. That's the transformation, bringing it back, pitching and catching. So thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else that'd like to share any thoughts, anything that they're present to?
Sure. It's Michael Crouch. How's everyone doing?
Good, Michael. Welcome. Thank you for your share.
Yesterday I was in the health food store supermarket, and just for fun I started practicing with holding Zeus energy, and it was just remarkable how all of a sudden staff members in that place that never pick up their head, everybody was looking at me. I walked through the entire place. I would say almost 100% of everybody who was there, wasn't that busy, picked their head up to look. So that was very, very, very interesting to me.
That's incredible. And that was for choosing Zeus. Were you in the process of sharing Zeus, or you were choosing Zeus?
I was just choosing Zeus to meet the energies because I'm a chiropractor that does energy medicine. So the energies, some are easier to access for me than others. So practicing almost like strengthening a muscle, I was just practicing to see what it was like to hold that space for an extended period of time.
That's incredible. Well, thank you for giving me a glimpse into your unique identity. And that's amazing.
You know, hey, Fernando, good morning to everybody, Master Monday. That's awesome. So just piece me what was just described. I heard energy, work. I'm super interested. So what did I miss?
Yes. So Chris was sharing powerfully. Chris Young was sharing powerfully at the beginning how he's been building emotional rapport, how he sees access to different questions and different abilities to connect with people. And then Michael was sharing how he's an energy work, he's a chiropractor, and he went to, I believe, the healthcare store or health provider, not remember the exact words.
Supermarket.
Yes, there we go, supermarket. Thank you for that. He chose Zeus, and not even in the access of communicating Zeus, in choosing Zeus, he noticed how everyone was looking, energy was being felt. He shared his energy work, and then Mr. Callaghy came in.
That's awesome. Chris and Michael, thank you so much for sharing that. And Michael, how did that feel?
It felt amazing. I mean, it's an access that I have to do for a particular energetic pattern that comes up on most people, but I never really thought about using it in other forms of communication. And so I just, for fun, it was amazing. I mean, people who always avoid making eye contact with me, who work there because they don't want to connect with the customers. Everyone wants to say hi. Everybody was looking up. It was really, really remarkable how easy it was.
That's amazing. Amazing. And I am very grateful on this Mastery Monday for you jumping in with that segue or potential segue into sort of the opening. So good morning. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. I know I certainly did. I want to thank Nicole and Fernando for a massive day on Saturday, along with Matt, as we were creating I think we made 33 video commercials essentially for January 10, 11, and 12, industry specific. So thank you for that, Nicole and Matt. And Fernando, then we hit it into high gear until late Saturday night, and that was incredible. And then Tiffany, I want to thank you for all of the great work that we did on the weekend over the quiz, finalizing, which for everybody in this line, that quiz is going to be a tremendously powerful tool of insight for you putting some things together. and it is like final, with just one insert left to go into it in terms of video. But in terms of the content itself, it is complete and ready, and should be available for you before tomorrow morning's huddle. So I'm very excited about that. And so, but when we talk Mastery Monday, let's jump into that this weekend. In addition, as a mechanism of keeping myself, my thinking, creativity, innovation stimulated, I listen to different things, whether it be musically or, interesting thought processes. And somehow I've fallen into a pattern of Malcolm Gladwell and re-listening to some of his work. And I talk about exponential regularly. It was so validating and exciting to listen to the studies he cites and his work in the tipping point, as well as Strangers Next Door. He's going back and forth some, to just be reminded of all the studies that are out there validating what we're discussing. And Michael, it's remarkable that you happen to be talking about energy and energetic transference and Zeus, because I was discovering over the weekend, and I'll make this available as soon as I nail it down, that there's a test. So we have the quiz, the Sales Mastery quiz. I'm going to be creating separate quizzes. And the quizzes are predominantly designed not only to see where you are, but also to educate and to give, disrupt knowingness and give distinctions and levels of thinking about networking, ecosystem merging, influence, and the C, like the gradations of levels of mastery to the questions. In addition, I've discovered that there's a professor at one of the Cal universities that had created a test that essentially, he doesn't call it this, but essentially, ready for this, tests for emotional and energetic transference. He doesn't call it that, but that's what the test is, which I found to be wild. So I'm going to see what he has in it. I have a sense of it from Malcolm Gladwell's work. So I'm going to assess it, take it, and see if that's something that we, utilize or even merge ecosystems there. But I was very excited because, and I hadn't read that book in a long time. And, we discussed the indispensable element of emotional energetic transference so consistently. Substantial portions of the book are dedicated to studies on exactly that topic and how oblivious the world is to what actually creates emotional and energetic transference. The distinction, I would say, that Malcolm Gladwell, the book is not about, it is not about acquiring those skill sets. It's almost about recognizing people, quote unquote, gifted with those skill sets. I did mention that previously, but that includes the emotional and energetic transference. So we're teaching how to acquire those skill sets. Gladwell's work is validating the superpower, the fact that it is a superpower, and that it's not a linear differential between humans. It is an exponential differential. And basically says in the book, he's like, forget everybody else. He's like, solely seek out salespeople, connectors, and mavens. So in the work that we're doing here, we are dramatically increasing everyone's ability to be all three of those things: a maven, a connector, and a salesperson, the three things that the tipping point would say matters. This program is not designed around it. I found it simply as an interesting validation of everything that we're doing and as to why these are superpowers. And I am unquestionably going to be communicating with Gladwell soon, with the outcome of having him on my podcast and potentially a speaker at a future event. It's simply to underscore and emphasize the importance of what you're engaged in, what you're investing your time, money, and energy into, and how unbelievably critical it is. Because again, essentially he differentiates humanity into the haves and have-nots, not judging people as not worthy, right? But the haves and the have-nots. Either people have the ability to influence others or they don't. And the dramatic differential in what that means amongst humans. So it was exciting and validating in between all the other work that went across this weekend. And to just drop in with this moment briefly, I am in a state which I invite you to join or not join. I am in a state of very conscious imbalance. We'll talk more about the wheels of life as we go through our work together. but I am in a state of conscious imbalance. I don't believe that life is often in true balance. I think there's always something that is leading and dominating. And for very long periods of my life, I had built, the business. I had a wonderful income, and I was, incredibly grateful for it, and continue to be incredibly grateful for it. But I was in a very happy place, not growing my economics, and it was working amazingly beautiful for me. And I was all about creating more magic in my life. Those economics are still working, but I want to take everything to a higher impact level and touching more people. So in that, I am in a state of conscious imbalance. So I say that because I don't want to give you the impression that my life has been dedicated to working 7 days a week, 80, 90 hours a week for the past 15 years, because you may not see your future in such a life. I wouldn't either. My life has always been about building, and then harvesting, and then enjoying and celebrating. And I was celebrating for about a decade. And so I can continue to celebrate if I chose to. I'm choosing next level contribution. And during that decade of celebration, I had 2 top 100 national jury verdicts. So I was very involved in coaching and training my children's sports teams, as I've said many times. So it wasn't purely just like kick back and hang out. I was in more, a couple of those causes versus building and scaling what we're up to, which is the mode I'm in now. So as you think about where you are and the sacrifices that you may or may not decide to make in your self-mastery, think in terms of conscious imbalance. Additional example, I did not go out on New Year's Eve in 1993 into 4, 94 into 5, and 95 into 96. I did not go out New Year's Eve. I studied for my law school exams because my exams were beginning either in January or like 2nd or 3rd during each of those years. I forget if it was a Saturday or Sunday, but it was right after New Year's. It was when our law school exams were, and they were of insane importance in terms of the job that you were going to get. At least at the time, I thought they were of insane importance. I would question how important they were now, but at the end of the day, they were important in this way. It taught me about conscious imbalance. I don't wish that I went out on those New Year's Eves. In fact, I hold it as a badge of my self-mastery, which I'm proud of. I am thankful for. And when I would have times when I was taking off, entire summers and truly creating magical moments with my kids and just enjoying teaching and giving and sharing, contributing, I felt a wonderful reflection on times when I didn't have that kind of time freedom. I made other choices and sacrifices. So what I'm suggesting to you, as you make decisions about conscious imbalance and balance overall, to realize that investing for a year or 2 with absolute intensity can bring about incredible periods in your life going down the road as you create ecosystems, as you master your influencing skill sets, like Michael was talking about. You're out practicing it, showing up that way, as Chris was talking about. It's just exciting. So you've both, Chris and Michael, you've both inspired me today. I'm grateful for that. And, the people who are so invested and working so hard over this weekend together, thank you for that. It's truly an exciting and fun time. So with that, just a brief pause. Fernando, you there, brother? Fernando's here. I'm muted. Going once. I may have dropped.
Nope, I'm right here. I was muted.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, quick question. What's present for you right now?
Okay, what I'm present to right now, and I actually wanted you to repeat a word. It was blank, unbalanced. What was it that you said?
Yeah. Conscious, like conscious, as in consciousness, or as in intentional, like conscious imbalance. Like it's not accidental. You didn't find your way into it. It's not that somebody's a workaholic. It's that you're consciously choosing a state of imbalance. For example, when I was, preparing for the trial, the federal trial, I worked during the trial 21 hours a day. That's a real number. I've never done anything like it before or since. 21 hours a day is literally the most insane thing I've ever done. I was in physical pain every day. That was conscious imbalance, as well as the 16 to 18-hour days that led up in the 4 months prior to the trial for about a 6-month run of wild imbalance. But yeah, conscious imbalance.
Yeah, so that's what I'm present to right now. That is like opening. I'm gonna take some integration time, but that alone is opening like a wormhole to like thought and possibility. Conscious imbalance. For some reason, that's landing very well. So I'm present to that. I'm present to the acceleration, that we're doing. Not only for me, because that's been beautiful, but as well as Cali Training and Development. Like that, what's happening there, the organization that's coming out of there, the language that's coming out of there, the things that we're doing there, seeing that and seeing the team and everything come together, that's really exciting as well.
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm incredibly grateful. I think we made some massive distinctions, and the takeaway when we talk about conscious imbalance related to mastery is its exponential byproduct. So what my conscious imbalance bought me was the ability to have a top point, probably 0.05% income, right? Not top 5%, top 0.05% income level, and not have to communicate with anybody in my office, in my world, for 3 months at a time. The ability to leave my office, go in every day and leave by 3 o'clock during those 3 months for the summer. I didn't work at all during, I think, 5 straight summers, and was like in zero contact, like disappeared off the grid as though I didn't exist. Okay. And then it gave me the ability to, in the interim, like the 9 months in between, to be gone by 3 p.m. every day. And 3 p.m. started my favorite job of the day, which was taking my kids their private lessons for baseball or soccer with me, throwing balls with them, kicking soccer balls with my daughters, lifting, working out with my son and daughters in different ways and capacities, going to games, coaching games. Like that was my life every day. So from 3 p.m., I'll call it, to 9 p.m., it was running around with my kids, doing that every day, and again being completely disconnected from a working world. That was the byproduct for me of exponential growth, of ecosystem mergers, and which were the byproduct of conscious imbalance. So in 1999, 2000, those early days when I built the first law firm, or 98, in fact, I was working like a lunatic. And then I created these, very large periods. So if you look at the last 22 years, there's probably 3 periods of conscious work imbalance that represent less than 20% of those 22 years. So the vast majority of those 22 years has been spent in conscious imbalance, enjoying magic and creating magic and having time freedom. That's the byproduct of conscious imbalance. Because a lot of people are like, I can't, we're going to go to the movies and do what, like, got it. Let me do a different, and by the way, this is getting into a whole, so I am divorced, right? So let's just get into that for a second. So I want to just, make sure we're not hearing stories I'm not trying to share. My divorces never had anything to do with work. In fact, my first divorce from the mother of my children, who, by the way, I get along with very well, and we have the same reality of what led to divorce. So I want to make sure that my divorce is never associated with work. It was just really a misalignment of, vision and values and mission. One of the final stages that led to me realizing that we had a massive challenge is coming out of, I would call it the first period of professional conscious imbalance of my life, and having reached an incredible point. Let me actually drop this in as language around conscious imbalance. So what you can take away is from a mechanism of when like you're moving through conscious imbalance and its benefits, is you move through 3 phases. First is arduous. Like, it doesn't have to be arduous, but and maybe I even want to reframe that, but I've called it arduous, which is where the effort you're putting in is not returning the value that you're for your effort. So you're getting dramatically less value returned than the effort you're putting in. And as you're like ending arduous, it's becoming like a fair exchange, like a linear exchange. Second, you move into momentum. And when you're in momentum, you begin to get more in return than for the effort you're putting in, more in return than for the effort you're putting in. And the third phase is abundance. And those years when I was, not working all during the summer, and where my life could be right now, should I so choose, right? Because I'm building something in addition to, not instead of. In the abundance phase, you're getting massively more than for the time and energy you're putting in. You're reaping and harvesting the rewards of being a business owner, not an operator. So arduous, momentum, abundance phases. I've had the privilege of running through multiple different contexts. And that's why I can be so certain in the effort and consistency that I'm investing now. I know that this is going to turn into momentum and abundance because it never has failed to do so, right? And I just know how to do it better than I've ever known. And so I have absolute certainty. So going back in time, just to complete the story. So one of the things that made me realize that we had a massive misalignment, no judgment, no blame, massive misalignment. In fact, for any situation I'm involved in, including divorces, I would always look at myself first, take 100% responsibility for making a variety of choices going in and, throughout. So there's no blame, no judgment, just misalignment. And my outcome was to enjoy the abundance of conscious imbalance and time freedom. And, when two of my children were little, to very little, to spend 3 weeks in Grand Cayman. So it was like, a year and a half before this, I had no money, was deeply in debt, scared out of my mind. And now I had, at that point, this is a very substantial amount of money and just massive freedom. And it was incredible. And I just wanted, and family is like my highest value. And so all I wanted to do was spend 3 weeks with my children and my wife at the time in the Cayman Islands, just alone at this like amazingly secluded, incredible place on the beach and the ocean. And it led to a massive discussion about 3 weeks being, in quotes, too long, and that 1 week was appropriate. And so I share that, and no judgment in any direction, just misalignment overall. Like my dream was to be able to travel and see things and go places and enjoy and take my children and like just be a family. And it was like no, let's anchor to home. And that was a major disconnect amongst many others, right? But my point in sharing that is it wasn't that conscious work imbalance created those problems, right? It was not that conscious work imbalance created those problems. So for you, for all of us, we can have great fear about creating conscious imbalance and like what happens. And just, if that's a direction you decide to move because you want to create more ready acceleration through arduous into momentum, into abundance, right? If you want to move more rapidly through those phases, conscious imbalance takes some conversations with the people around you, the people in your life. I have a very close relationship, for example, with my mom. And as I've been traveling so much and doing things that this is the most traveling I've ever done in my life and career, because I was very specific about how I built my life and business earlier. So it was very geographically centered. So I didn't have to travel and be away from my children. Now my children are older and, it's a whole different, world I'm in. So with my mom though, it's like, she's missing me, as one example. So I've had to sit down and say, Mom, it's gonna be like this till the end of 2020. I've made a commitment. I'm gonna reevaluate it. Doesn't mean we don't see each other. I happen to see my mom on Saturday at my niece's birthday. In between, a day I was working probably 14 hours. But like you have an agreement and you take people back to the agreement. And if people truly love us, I believe this. You can make your own calls. But if people truly love us, they will understand as we would understand for them times when we're building things and creating conscious imbalance to help them, right? Like when I do things, I've done incredible things for my mom throughout my life, people in my family, my children, loved ones, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. I had the privilege of, in fact, taking my entire family to the Cayman Islands for a week, to the Ritz-Carlton. I cried. My grandmother was there. God rest her soul. We took her the year before she passed. And to have been able to deliver that magical moment and memory for my family was one of the 5 greatest things that's ever happened in my life. And that was the byproduct of periods of conscious imbalance in my life. There's, I have the ability to do, I've taken my entire family many times at Christmas time on a bus through the city, a magical day to see the tree, to reserve space in Ellen's Stardust Diner. I'm talking 40 people in my family. In Ellen's Stardust Diner, get everybody, take all the kids and my cousins and their children to like FAO Schwartz before it closed, and now we do other things, but to everybody get toys and FAO Schwartz and go ice skating either at Rockefeller Center or the other, I'm forgetting the name of the other ice skating park in Manhattan as well that does Christmas, and then end it with going to see the tree and the Christmas show, and just those moments are the moments that it's all about. And for me, doesn't have to be for you, right? I'm just giving you access to what mattered to me. Completely different things might matter to you. Like what may matter to you is taking a year off and living in the Himalayas, and just meditating, right? That could be. For you, it might mean, deciding that you want to live in a major city, in some other country for a year. It could mean that all you want to do is have enough money to write a book, right? But whatever it is to you, those dreams can accelerate with periods of conscious imbalance where you're making an affirmative decision for how long you're going to stay in that space, which could be reevaluated periodically. But my hallucination is one of the great challenges people have with their self-mastery is that they're in and out of the decision. Am I going to do it? I'm not. I'm going to do it. I'm not. I'm going to do it. I'm not. I'm going to do it. I'm not. Like they dabble and play as opposed to full out commit. And dabbling is going to keep us for whatever next level we're seeking. Like whatever next level we're seeking is going to keep us in arduous for a long time. For example, I'm looking to build the most successful sales acceleration and training platform in the world. I'm in the arduous phase of doing that. It doesn't mean my stuff isn't incredible. I'm really confident that it is, but I just started, right? Like I've trained people in it that work for me. I've lived it, but in terms of building a platform to compete with Grant Cardone and beyond, he's got a decade ahead. So I got to go. I don't have to. I'm choosing to go into conscious imbalance to more rapidly accelerate through that arduous phase. And it's happening. I could feel it. I could see it. And so that opportunity and choice is yours as well. Okay. So with that said, it's Mastery Monday. What questions, wins, anything does anybody have that they would like to share? Going once.
Hey, Sean.
Yes.
Hey, this is Nate. How's it going?
Hey, Nate, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. So I'm fairly early into the stage of my careers, and I'm trying to build something myself. But in addition to that, I feel that I'm an impatient person when it comes to seeing the results. And so it's a two-part question. So for your example, when you went through the 3 phases based upon your law firm, how long did it take? And then also, in addition to that, I can sense in you that at first I would assume that you were an impatient person as well. How did you overcome the want and desire for everything to come to fruition quickly?
Nate, that's an amazing question. Thank you. I am still, as probably whoever is on the line from my team can attest to, I still have great urgency, and I want everything to happen as rapidly as humanly possible. So So that has not left. So I think urgency is an asset. Okay, I would maybe transform impatient to urgent. Number one. Number two, the building of the law firm. I had massive acceleration in the first 6 months. So by month 6, things were working, and my income had changed dramatically, to say the least. I went from making nothing, probably in like month 1, 2, 3, and I would say in month 6, I made about $100,000. So it was rapid and real and wild and like mind-boggling how that came together. But it was because I maintained massive, as you're saying, massive urgency, which you might have reflected as impatience, with ecosystem merging and developing my skills. I was asking for the business. I was building rapport, and my skill sets were a fraction of what they are today, but I was in the beginning stages of building the integrity-based human influence model and experimenting with it. And so, it took about a 6-month period. But anything that's not coming together is either because of our process mastery, our influence mastery, and or self-mastery. So I am hallucinating that dramatic acceleration in going from hello to yes with people, as well as making sure you're seeking the right ecosystem merger space. Both of those are critical. I would take a beautiful lesson from what Michael was sharing and make sure that you're stepping into your Zeus energy as well as your goddess energy and becoming somebody that people are gravitationally pulled towards. Every word we say here matters and is real. So your emotional rapport building skill set is the first massive pillar of this, because that's what gets us to like the next stages. So really focus on your emotional rapport building, acknowledging and validating of people, and you can sense, and I would really dial into this, everyone, Nate and everyone, of how people are reacting to you. Are people pulled towards you, or they're still not yet? And if you're sensing they're not yet, then let's start talking about why and asking questions in that space. I know, is that an answer, Nate, or no?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So listen, it's about 9. I'm always trying to make sure we're giving massive delivery, so we're over time. Tomorrow we will open questions. Please hold any question you have for tomorrow, unless it's absolutely urgent. If somebody has something totally urgent that's time sensitive for today, I can happily answer. If not, if you could hold it till tomorrow. Does anybody have anything urgent for today?
Not a question. Last thought, if I may, Mr. Kagi.
Yeah, good.
Beautiful. I'm going to let everyone go as fast as possible. Just one quick note. If anyone is in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, PA, eastern side of the world area, please shoot a note in the WhatsApp. We have something small and intimate taking place here in New Jersey, and I'd like to share that with you. So anyone on the East Coast, please just drop a note in the WhatsApp, and that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I have to jump onto a 9 a.m. call for me. Nate, Michael, Chris, everyone, Fernando, thank you all, and have an amazing day.
Blessings.
You too, Sean. Thank you.
Great job, Nate. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michael, for the share. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Fernando.
Thank you, everyone, for being on. Blessings. See you in the WhatsApp. Bye-bye.
Bye.